الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين يتبعون الرسول النبي الأمي الذي يجدونه مكتوبا عندهم في التوراة والإنجيل يأمرهم بالمعروف وينهاهم عن المنكر ويحل لهم الطيبات ويحرم عليهم الخبائث ويضع عنهم إسرهم والأغلال التي كانت عليهم فالذين آمنوا به وعزروه ونصروه واتبعوا النور الذي أنزل معه أولئك هم المفلحون صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. How fortunate we are that at this very moment we all have gathered in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are sitting in a gathering in which Allah Almighty and His beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam shall be mentioned. Day and night, so many of our gatherings are such in which totally there is no mention of Allah and there is no mention of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at all. Our majalis, our gatherings are solely for the affairs and the matters of dunya. Dunyavi, worldly talks in our gatherings take place, and our mind not even for a moment turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our Hazrat Moulana Mohammed Riaz used to say that we should have our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at all times in our heart and in our mind. He should be resting in our hearts all the time. He should be always in our minds. But unfortunately, what is in our mind, dunya and the things of dunya are in our minds all the time. And we have involved in so many evil activities that our days, our moments of night and day pass by in these activities, and we never realize, and we never sense, and we never think that these very activities will drag us to the hellfire, and these are the activities which are taking us far and far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Ahl Jannah, the inmates of paradise, will have no regret on anything except on the moments which passed by without the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and without the mention of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They will even in Jannat will regret. Then why our those moments in dunya passed by without the mention of Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So we should always in a majlis, we should always read, do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how easy Allah has made the dhikr for us. Saying Subhanallah is a zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar is a zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how easy it is to remember our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the shortest the salutation. So how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made everything easy for us. This deen, ad-deen yusrun, our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, deen is very easy. Today, the shaitan has whispered in our minds, in our ears, that deen, it's very hard. We take deen as something very complicated thing. And this mind, this thought is in our mind. Because of this thought, we don't come near deen. And this is a thought has left many people from embracing Islam. They think, if we embrace Islam, we have to give up everything. Islam doesn't say that if somebody embraces Islam, that he has to give up everything, he has to give up his belt and everything. No, he can keep everything that he has. So these are the thoughts are keeping us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And our mind is always working, in evil activities. Our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam always used to make this dua, Allahumma ij'alni min alladhina iza ahsanu istabsharu wa iza asaw istaghfaru. Oh Allah, you include me from among the people when they do something good, they become cheerful. They become happy. Meaning, when they do something good, they become happy that Allah Almighty has given me tawfiq, ability to do something good. I did it, then he becomes happy in the heart. Or Allah, you include me from among the people who do something wrong and then straight away they seek Allah's forgiveness. Allah, you include me from those people who do something good, become happy, thank Allah, oh Allah, I thank you that you have given me the tawfiq to do something good. And if somehow they do something wrong, they straight away seek Allah's forgiveness. Oh Allah, you forgive me. So my young brothers, before I start explaining this verse which I have recited before you, from the last 2 weeks, our gathering, the commentary of the verse, continues. Just before I explain this, I would like to draw your attention towards one thing, which is, masajids are built not only to perform our daily 5 prayers, but for many other purposes, such as gathering, which is taking place now. Nowadays, our young ones, our youth, they are away from Islam. And it seems that they have no interest in Islam at all. It becomes a duty of the ulamas particularly to preach these youth and somehow bring them to the masjid and connect them to Allah and the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look around, mashallah, ulama kiram, the scholars are working, effortlessly hard day and night, how to bring the ummah on the right path, on the sirati mustaqim. How can they can save the iman of our youth? Today the youth, so many young ones are turning to Christianity. Do you know so many Muslims have become atheist. So many young ones have become atheist. Now it is our duty in our locality to those young ones who are standing in the corners of streets day and night, maybe selling drugs, how to bring those youth into masjid. For this purpose, in every masjid, mashallah, ulama ikram working very hard. We've called in our masjid so many times, ulama ikram, scholars, to deliver talk to these young ones, elders, everyone. Now, these functions and these gatherings which take place, there needs some hard work. And for this purpose, we need some volunteers, who can help us when we arrange a talk. When the talks are arranged, it needs a lot of effort to be made. So in order to make it, successful. So how it can be successful? Only if there are some volunteers who could come forward and help us. Alhamdulillah, there are some young ones. They said, Moulana Sahib, we need some more, these gatherings taking place in this masjid, either after monthly or after 2 months. So far, so many ulamas have been into your masjid here. Now we have booked another big Sheikh Mumtaz al-Haq from London, who, mashallah, gives talk in English to youth. At the end of December, we have booked him, and he will be coming to your masjid, inshallah. I need some volunteers, volunteers for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to work and to make this gathering successful. If you please, everyone has time. We can take some time out for this da'wah work, and then we can, take this forward, and then we can make this, if one young man, just imagine if one young man, just one person, because of your effort, he becomes under deen, he becomes religious, he connects himself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have made your akhirat. Our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once said to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, if Allah Almighty guides one person through your effort and he becomes an Islam, then this is better for you. This is better for you than red camels. In those days, the red camels used to be classed as a very valuable things. Like today, the Mercedes and these latest in these vehicles. In those days, red camels used to be classed as a very valuable assets. So he said, one person through your effort, your merit comes on deen, this is better for you everything. So if with our effort, a bit of effort, and then if somebody comes on deen, then we can hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah will forgive us and we will gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will hope that you will come forward and give your names so that we can work on this program, and how we can make it more effective, and how we can bring more youth into our masjid. So anyhow, the verse I've recited in this very verse, I've explained it, some of it last week. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informing us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has been mentioned in the earlier books. When the Quran was being revealed, this verse was revealed to Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. At that very time, the Jews, the Christians were already living in Makkah, in Madinatul Munawwara. And Quran says that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has been mentioned in their books. And the people of books in the days of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam heard this verse from Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they remained silent, and they did not refute this verse, in which Allah claims that Prophet Muhammad has been mentioned in Injil, and Prophet Muhammad has been mentioned in Torah. And the Jews of those days, after hearing this claim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they did not try to refute, even though so many changes have been made in these books, Torah and Injil. But even after that, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's mention one will find in those books. Now their silence shows that Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam really was mentioned. If he was not mentioned in their books, they would have come forward, and they would always be looking for a moment, to object and to attack and criticize Islam. But here, when the Quran made a claim that Prophet Muhammad definitely has been mentioned in the earlier books, the Jews of Madinatul Munawwara and the Christians of Madinatul Munawwara, they remained silent, and they did not say. Their silence proved that Prophet ﷺ was mentioned, and they knew he is mentioned in our books. Now, Prophet ﷺ's qualities have been mentioned in this book, his attributes. One of them was, I mentioned last week, that he is ummi, he is unlettered, uneducated prophet, who has never been to any school, any college, any university. And then after a while, when he became 40 years old, he began to speak such words and utter such words from his mouth that no one could challenge those words. So this was a clear proof that this man who is unlettered and speaking such words that no one can challenge them, really he is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another attribute of Prophet ﷺ mentioned here is that this prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who mentioned in the books, his one of the attributes is that وَيَأْمُرُهُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Torah Injil, this prophet who will be the last prophet, his one of the attributes will be, he will command the people to do good, and he will prevent them from evil. This will be his quality. Now the question rises here in our minds. Now this quality, attribute of Amr bil Ma'ruf has been the quality and has been the attribute of every prophet from Adam to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. It has been the attribute of every prophet that they used to command people, they used to, they used to bid fair and they used to forbid unfair. So this has been the quality of every prophet. So why was it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this attribute of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a distinctive, quality, this is the special quality of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why has it been mentioned as special quality while it has been the quality of all the prophets that they used to come? Because the very purpose of every prophet was to prevent the people from evil and to command them of good. This was the purpose of sending them, and this was the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordaining them, that you go to mankind, go to my slaves and command them to do good and prevent them from bad. Now, why has it been mentioned as a special quality of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The reason behind this was the prophets addresses, the people whom he dealt with, they were Bedouins. And they knew nothing except grazing camels and sheep. They knew nothing. But our Prophet, the method of his, the way he approached them in such a manner that he explained the Islam to them and the rulings of Islam to them in such a way that they, even after being, illiterate people, after being, just shepherds, they understood very clearly the message of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of his approach, because of his way of explaining to them. They understood very clearly the message of Islam and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On the other side, the emperors of those days, they used to send the delegation to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The king of Rome and the Persia, they used to send the delegation to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his approach to them, how he dealt them with those people, they were very intelligent people who used to talk to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But subhanallah, our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the way he dealt with them, the way he preached them, even they were really impressed with with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's preaching. And so many they went after they had sat in the majlis of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were really impressed and happy. So in that sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the quality of preaching in the people and bidding fair and forbidding unfair as a special quality of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had gifted him such a way of explaining. Even those who were unlettered, those who were uneducated, they understood the message, and those who were intelligent, they understood the message of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam very clearly. In that sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the earlier books, this prophet who is to come, his special quality or attribute will be that he will be commanding the people of good and he will be preventing them of bad. And now Ma'ruf, what does Ma'ruf mean? Ma'ruf means something that has been recognized, something which is known, and something which is known. And a munkar, which means strange, unknown thing. What does it mean? It hints anything that has been introduced in the first century of Islam, anything that was recognized as a good deed, and anything that was declared as a bad deed in the Qarn Awwal, meaning in the days of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and after in the days of Sahaba Ikram, and in the days of Tabi'in, it will be declared and it will be classed in the day of judgment as a good deed, and it will be declared as something which they declared as sin, or they declared as something munkar, strange, or which is not part of Islam. It will not be classed as part of Islam till the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, Allah is saying one of his attributes is that he will be commanding people of good and he will be preventing them of evil. And there are some more other qualities of Prophet mentioned in this very verse Inshallah, if Allah wills, we will talk about it in our next gathering. And before I finish, as every week, we sit in the company of Hazrat Dr. Sahab for the zikr, majlis of zikr and majlis of Durood Sharif, salutation. This majlis, we sit and we send salutation of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam all together, and we do the zikr. I humbly ask you to join us this majlis of salutation of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and majlis of zikr. May Allah accept our sitting here. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Moulana Mohammed wa alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Allahumma Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul